nonetheless. I'm just going to take it from the top, so we will probably have to do a follow-up after this. But the essential point that I'm going to make today to you is that human beings have been around for roughly 100,000 years. Configuration, I should say. So brain size, rough body shape, and so forth. Now that's conservative science. Other scientists believe it could be 200,000 years. And in fact, the marker is being pushed back further as we discover more things. Personally, I believe, and I think Dave is with me on this one, we are much older than that. Okay, so maybe even millions of years, but that's probably going too far. And it doesn't really add much to the point here, except that this civilization, or what we're going through, may have happened many, many, many times before. Many times in the past. We may in fact be the original phoenix, a phoenix with amnesia. So we would build a civilization, it would crush down on itself with only a few survivors and then some evidence through mitochondrial DNA that about 100,000 years ago, certainly most of us can trace our ancestry back to one single woman. Just think. Are we still on? Can you hear me?
No. Can you just keep an eye on whether the auto server is on or not? Because I can't. It says busy now.
Okay. This is from Joe Diamond. Why is he telling us?
It's all good. I know how to deal with all.
Okay, I'm going to try the auto server. Sorry?
Well, I was trying to connect to the auto server.
You have?
Well, no. I'm saying, can you see it in the screen?
I can see it in the screen.
But it's grayed out now, gone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just pull it back in and see what happens. It says busy. Why is he mooning us?
I'm not sure what's going on here, dude. Who's this Joe Diamond guy?
He's living with Hawk at the moment.
So is he doing this?
I hope he's not. So I can't see Nighthawk in the
He's not in
the chat.
It's all good. I know how to deal with all from this station.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he might be fucking us here.
Yeah, well, he'll know about that. Okay, we're back on. Mackie, if you'd like to take it from the top.
Absolutely. Okay, I guess we're back. I'm hoping. I hope everybody can hear me. This is so I apologize from Dave and myself. Sorry about that. Just to recap very quickly. I don't want to go over it again, but let's just say that we've had enough time allotted to us by conservative scientists to build a civilization of these kinds of proportions that we have today, roughly 10 times over. Okay, if you take weather and other things into consideration, let's call it 5 times. Okay, and just looking at that, think about it as a starting point for us here. Okay, because most civilizations and in history, we can see this, follow a certain pattern. There's development, there's a peak, and then there's a slow decline, or even a catastrophic decline if there's a natural disaster or a massive invasion or war. Now, the pattern would have been the same in the past. It would have been exactly the same, and it would have not changed much over the eons, because I think human nature at large stays the same. So why is this important? Why is it important how long we've been around? Because it seems that there is an elite out there which has been around for a very long time indeed. If you are in power most of us are not, unfortunately, you think differently to the average Joe and Jane in the street. You think long term, you think dynasties, you think my family will rule for hundreds or even thousands of years and whatnot. But even more so, some of these individuals might even think about personal immortality. I mean, today, if you look around how money is spent, I can guarantee you that there are a lot of very wealthy people very interested in extending their lives through science, technology, and all the things. In fact, some scientists believe we might be either the last generation to die or the first to live forever, be it through organ augmentation or maybe transferring a consciousness into a computer or whatever it might be. Now take that kind of mentality and put it back 100,000 years, 200,000 years, 500,000 years. People will always have wanted to do this. And I believe that some people were successful in doing it. There are many, many ancient legends and myths about immortals, gods that had their own immortality elixir. They all had their own little potions they drank to stay immortal. And the interesting thing is that it appears to have been accurate to some extent. We spoke about gold in our past shows and how every culture has really revered gold. It's gold seems to be the metal of the gods, okay, essentially. And this is really strange because we spoke about that in our past show as well. Gold is not really very useful. I mean, it doesn't rust. It's quite soft though, so as a weapon, it's not useful. And it's shiny, it's pretty, and all these wonderful things. When we talked about monatomic gold, though, we found that there might be potentially attributes to that substance that may indeed prolong life. In fact, we're thinking that it might restore our telomeres, or the junk DNA, which is getting less and less accurate each time our DNA is copied. So it seems that gold and immortality have always been put together. They go hand in hand. So if in fact, in the distant past, 50, 100,000 years ago, a million years ago even, somebody came across on how to create this potion, this not just something that gives you a long life or even gives you, I guess, an immortal point of view, but also rejuvenates you. So it's no good being immortal and old. What's the point? You don't want that. So what you want is something that keeps you young and keeps you from dying. Now, these immortals, the Council of Seven, the Council of 11, whatever you want to call them, we've spoken about them in our show about immortals as well, are probably still prone to die from accidents. You probably shoot them, they could fall down a flight of stairs and break their neck. Who knows? Okay, I think that is still possible. But I strongly believe that these beings exist, and they may very well be human beings. They may be from races that have preceded us on this planet. Okay, what do I mean by this? Well, the dinosaurs were on this planet for a couple 100 million years, 400-500 million years, but for a very, very long time. It's certainly a lot longer than we have been here. And in that time, it's odd, or to me it seems odd, that they didn't evolve or didn't develop into a certain intelligent species, intelligent in the way that we are intelligent today, or that we would recognize as intelligent. It may not have happened, but I strongly believe that it might have, because there's a lot of talk about reptilians and certainly or dinosaur-shaped creatures as well in the distant past. There was worshipping of the snake and so forth. So there's all these motives that are going through all of our cultures, through all of our history, that go back right into the dark past where we don't have any written records. And it makes sense to consider that maybe these immortals may be not human as we understand it. They may very well be human, or some of them, and there might be a mixture of different creatures. The point, though, is I think they all have the same agenda, which is to stay alive and to stay in power. I don't think there are very many of them. Okay, I don't think there are very many of them. If there were, we would be living in a very different world. We would be living in a world of total control, I think, if they had the means to do that. We are certainly moving in that direction, make no mistake, okay? And I think it takes a certain level of technology for this control to be achieved. And, you just have to look at things like biometric checking, DNA sampling of the population, maybe even chipping of the population, which is really not much more than becoming a cattle or a piece of cattle to the elite. And there's also talk about depopulation, which is very important. And we need to talk about that as well at some length. And I'm not sure if we're going to do that today, but we will certainly do that in the future. These are all very, very important themes. And they keep running through our ancient history as well. There have been depopulation events. Okay, there have been floods or flood legends. There have been depopulation events on a larger scale on the planet Earth, where there was a mass extinction of several times of all the species that were there, up to 95% of all species, certainly a lot longer ago than the immediate history, but these events have happened. Now, why is this important? It's important because it is a very it becomes how can I put this best, Dave? It's a very interesting theme that runs through our history. And once you have taken away all the layers of I guess paraphernalia and ritual and storytelling, you come to the core of the ancient legends, which is always about gods, immortality, people seeking immortality, people being expelled in case they will get immortality. And I'll direct your attention here to the Bible and the book of Genesis. We were expelled not only because, from paradise that is, according to the Bible, not only because we ate from the tree of knowledge, but so we would not eat from the tree of life and become like God, right? So we ate from the tree of knowledge, it was a bad thing, we got expelled for it, but he said very clearly that you should not eat from the tree of life and become like us, okay? So it is really running through our culture. These belief systems of immortality and the gods having immortality, being more powerful, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if that is true, what is the agenda of these people? What is the agenda of these creatures that have been around maybe for thousands, maybe for hundreds of thousands of years? I think the agenda is to stay in power. I think the agenda is to keep us ignorant, because that's what we are for the most part. The agenda is to just keep on going the way we are. Because if you look at society today, the laws and the police don't exist to protect you. Not really. I mean, it's a side effect, if you will. But for the most part, the laws, the police, the courts, and all of that only exists to maintain the status quo. Okay? It is in existence so that the powerful can live their lives. And if you sometimes get justice, that's great. But the powerful, the rich, the elite, they live above those laws. They live above the police. They seem to be able to get away with things. And that's what's visible to us. That's not the real elite. That's just the rich people around. The real elite, I think we never see them. I think we don't know who they are. And I think there's, as I said, very few of them. But essentially, they keep on going as they are. Why would they do that? Now, this is where it becomes a little metaphysical, a little spiritual. We are living in a physical world, and we are denying, for the most part, the spiritual side, which is the way we're brought up, I guess. Not so much in the East, though, or in other ancient cultures, like in Africa or South America. So, because we deny this, we are content to live our mechanical lives, to eat the terrible foods that we're eating, to take the drugs, to dull our minds, and to worry about things that are not really important. Because to us, spiritual life is either a ritual we follow. I was born a Catholic, I was born a Protestant, I was born a Muslim, so I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'll be fine when I die, I go to heaven, so on and so forth, right? Well, if that's true, great. And I hope that most of you are content to live your life that way, and I hope you're right. I don't think, though, that is necessarily the truth. Coming to a spiritual awareness or trying to achieve enlightenment is a unique and very personal journey. And it's a very important journey, I think, as well. It's important to question your belief system. It's important to understand why you believe what you believe. It's important to fully realize your potential. And your belief system might be holding you back. I don't know, maybe not. But my point is that you need to question it. Okay, it's very, very important. Now, the elite, though, have spent a lot of time to build these belief systems, and in fact build belief systems that are mutually exclusive. And geared towards conflict. And that's, again, just a red herring to keep us distracted from what's really going on. Okay, it's the old divide and conquer kind of method. I mean, if you have got superior numbers, you just conquer. But if you don't have superior numbers and superior technology, you must divide and conquer. So you must split your enemy. You must divide him. And you must then concentrate on the subgroups and either subvert them, conquer them, or destroy them. And that's pretty much what's happening today. Because essentially, I mean, every religion, every philosophy, every belief system, every ideology, communism, capitalism, they all say we are right. We are right. You're all wrong and we are right. Well, the thing is this, we can all be right, right? We can all have the truth. We can all have the perfect system of government because it just doesn't work that way. And because we are all different and we all have different systems of belief, it has led to unbelievable conflict, to unbelievable hardship for most of us all the time. Even today, still it does. You know, we see this puppet show being played out in front of us, you know, or we need to go after the resources, or we must secure the oil, the water, whatever, you know, or, you know, they hate our freedoms, you know, they're terrorists, you know, got to bomb them to the Stone Age and all these wonderful things. So what then is the answer? The answer is, as I said, to question your belief system. And why would they want us distracted? They want us distracted so that we do not question. They want us distracted so that we go on with our lives as we do. This is really the key thing here. Because we are not just flesh robots. And like I said earlier, I mean, if you believe we're just flesh robots, fair enough, this show is not really for you. I'm hoping, though, that you will re-examine your beliefs and look at some of the strange phenomena and the strange occurrences that can't be explained with, you know, by the physical sciences, which tell us there might be more than just a flesh robot running around, eating, reproducing, consuming. I think we're more than that. Okay? Now, because we, I think, have greater potential than we currently realize. Our true being, if you will, our spirit, our soul, whatever you want to call it, once it leaves this physical shell, the prison, as I think it is, I think we then have the potential to go further, to explore more, to understand the cosmos as it is, to maybe go into the multi-dimensional reality that exists out there. I don't know. I do know that we're severely limited. And I know this because in our dreams, everything seems to make sense. Like we dream, and, you know, while we're dreaming, we're just going with it, I guess. And I'm not talking about the prophetic dreams that Dave has necessarily, or other people, but the dreams where you just go from place to place, or from body to body, or from occasion to occasion without any rhyme or reason, but you're okay with it because while you're dreaming, it makes sense. As you wake up, though, if you do remember your dream, chances are it doesn't make any sense. Okay? Chances are there is no recollection of a coherent dream that you can make sense of. And I think that is because there's the limitation placed in our physical bodies, in our physical brains, that dampens our awareness, that dampens our true intelligence and our true comprehensive abilities. I won't go any further now because we've only got a couple minutes to the break. Sorry, Dave, I've been monopolizing. Do you know if we're still coming through loud and clear?
We're doing just fine.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I can't really use so we've got a minute or so before the break.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do just before the top of the hour is get a thumbs up from everyone in the chat room saying that the audio is awesome, so we won't drop the call and reinitiate. I think we've done it enough already tonight. Thanks, Joe, for your assistance as well. Thanks, Hawk. And take your time to cruise on by to shinysideout.net for all the information that you might be missing out on between shows. Also, for links to all the previous show notes, and check out the merchandise page. I've just created that mug, and I'll tell you that mug is awesome. Meki's about to get his one too. So, yeah, when we catch up, Mek, I'll pass it over to you, yeah?
Ready?
So I expect the music will be any tick of the clock, or maybe not. I think every week I synchronize my clock to it, and I think it has a bit of drift. So do I still sound terrible, Meki?
Yeah, to me at least.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny because I was listening in the chat room and I couldn't hear that at all.
Did you listen to the? Okay, let me listen in as well. I'm breaking. Oh.
Yeah, it does. I think it's a bandwidth issue at some end. I don't know what it is. My link is pretty good, and I've got QoS on Skype, so it's not going to be me. Maybe mine's now working too fast. I don't know. Maybe I should turn it off over the break. There's the music. We'll catch you on the other side of the short break. Stay right there.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio. We'll be right back after this short break, so stay tuned.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or a computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Intuitive improvisation is the secret of genius.
I want to break free.
Oh, I see.
I put my pants on.
So,
just like the rest of you, one leg at a time.
I guess I'll have to watch.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more caca.
Uh-huh.
I turned cities into salt.
Oh, okay.
You gotta come work for me.
Right. Uh-huh.
I could get you in now. You love it. Nobody tells you when to go to bed.
You want to call in? Sure.
All day. All night.
If you want to fight or you got something more important.
You eat all the ice cream you want.
I'll take that too.
You're talking to me all wrong. It's the wrong tone.
I'm not adding all these people. I don't know all these people.
Out there.
So, oh, I see. Right. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm challenged.
Changing reality with the hijacker. Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern.
right. Thanks for listening while we take that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
Hi, you're back with Shiny Side Out on freedomslips.com. We're part of Revolution Radio. We're halfway through show number 42, and we're talking about the big reveal today. This is, just for everyone, this is Listener Funner Radio. So ensure that you stop on by to Revolution Radio or freedomslips.com and push on donate. Push the site support button and then push on donate and help out the good cause. If you like what you listen to, you really need to do it. I think it's important. It does drive the station. It pays for the bills. And we can continue doing this for everyone for as long as we can. That's all it is. We don't make a couple of payments, the station's not going to be helping, right? So let's jump in there and do it. I know we made a lot of money. We're doing pretty good on this billing cycle. Anything will help out. All right. It's greatly appreciated. All right. So, look, apologies for any tech problems we've had for the first half of the show. It looks like a bandwidth issue. Don't know which end it's at. Mecky's going to restart. I restarted mine halfway through, so let's see if we can just pick it up. And give me a thumbs up in the chat room if if the audio is clear and okay. Otherwise, I think we still have some bandwidth issues to sort out. Though I have been on air, I don't know, last night and this morning, and no one mentioned anything. So anyway, so look, waiting for Mecky to come back. I'm just going to fill you in. The same kind of things as Mecky's talking about really is a culmination of all of the shows we've done so far this year, and look forward to a brand new year of more information coming up. It's a weird. Honestly, sometimes it sounds like we're saying the same things over and over, because we know it, we live it. It's a difficult position for us to not sound repetitive to ourselves when we're telling people. But I have people all the time asking me, "Oh, you do that show? Yeah, look, I've got a ghost story, or I've got, I saw this thing in the sky, or have you checked this news article? I found this thing." And I'll listen to everyone. I want to know for a fact myself what's going on, and we're data collectors. So I was trying to picture a way in which we could tell you guys what it is that we do and how we do it, and maybe it can help you make the right decisions too, and what's plausible, and thanks to Guy, and what makes sense. All right. So one of those things, if you have a look at a sorting machine for the size of objects coming off a production line, so the small ones will fall through first, the large ones will continue on until their size has been sorted, right? A sorting machine on a production line. If you think about that data coming through as things that coincide with information you already know, things that don't coincide, things that are easily dismissed or aren't repeatable, hence those free energy machines that I was experimenting with. Just I wanted to be across what I'm seeing that doesn't match up with what their results are, and if they can shed any light. And if in fact I've asked them to come on the show as well. Anyone who has something that is over Unity, I'd love to see it, because at the moment I can't reproduce any of it. My desk is littered with bits. My partner came downstairs the other day and had a look and said, "What on earth are you doing now?" And I said, "Well, I'm just pulling apart these printers and hard drives and get the bits out and have some fun." So yeah, got my multimeter out and had a good bit of fun. Yeah, it's good for me. I like it. Anyway, so what I see is that each one of the topics that we've talked about, and Mecky mentioned this before, is not an isolated incident. There is a running thread between them all, and number one thread, if I could say anything for sure, is, and I think we already know this, but for the newcomers and new listeners, it is that we aren't being told the entire truth. That has to be the number one topic, right? For instance, there was a show the other day. I just wanted to recap this just before Mackie comes back, and that is that I was looking at a couple of stories this week, and it said that NASA doesn't tell us everything. Well, of course they don't have to tell us everything. Remembering they're not a public space agency for those listening. No, they are so not. For instance, the origin of NASA was 1958. Eisenhower, remember the fellow? He asked that it would be commissioned partially from NACA, and also part of it from the Department of Defense at the time. So when it was created, the first thing they did was commission the Brookings Report, which was to decide. Hey, Mackie, you're on air, man. Let me just finish this up. Yes, I can hear you, Mackie. So the first thing that NASA did when they came online for the first time as being part military and part NACA, which was the Center for Aeronautics, was to commission the Brookings Report to decide what information was going to become public and what wasn't. So what were they to discover and what were they going to classify as top secret? Just the fact that any space agency decides that and is military, it really divides the information that's going to come to you. It's going to be whatever they want you to know and what they don't want you to know, and that just gets siphoned off. And we know there's black budgets with, military spending that is not approved by Congress, and that in itself is just it's a power tree run by people who have interests other than yours, your taxpayers, interest in mind. They've got their own agenda and they couldn't care less, and they'll kill people to keep that quiet. Right? So that's, Mackie, I was just giving everyone a heads up on how NASA, how people don't get the full information, and how NASA's origins determined that immediately because it's half military.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. So
cool. Sorry, I'm just rebooting my machine here, guys.
How does it feel now? Because you sound clear again. I got a thumbs up that we were clear in the chat room too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Now, okay, good. Look, today has been a show of very, very many technical issues, certainly for me here. So this show will be done again. So we will continue though. So we want the record continuous. So there will be a whole 2 hours, hopefully glitch-free, just devoted to what we're doing today. And you're right, Dave. And you're correct in what I caught the last bit of what you were saying. They will kill you. They don't care. The view of the world that they have is very different from the view of the world that you have. For the most part, people of that nature, people that have the power, be it NASA or elsewhere, that have a vested interest and that are thinking in longer term, strategic terms, if you will, not tactical, not short term, but over decades, hundreds of years even, over dynasties. They don't care. They send people to war. I mean, what kind of person do you have to be to send someone to war without going yourself, that is? If fair enough, if you have a certain belief system, you think you should defend it, great. Knock yourself out, but, be there in the front line with everybody else taking the bullets for you.
Hey, Mackie, imagine if I was to put it in any way, I think it's if you were just a human standing over an ant's nest and indiscriminately treading on ants as you see fit.
Yep. Yeah.
There's no remorse.
No.
Right? There's no... Oh, that's a tragic incident, right? Oh, I've just killed how many? Oh, must be hundreds. Let me do it again.
Yeah.
Yay. No, there's none of that. They don't care.
No. And in fact, that's an excellent analogy. Because we step on ants all the time. We don't even know it, right? You will step on an ant in a day and you'll step on 100 ants for all you know. And the thing is, the ant will go, oh, why did you do it? Why did that happen to me? What happened to you? How come you stepped on me? And you don't even know that you stepped on them. I think, that some of these people are malicious enough to step on them. And they might do it. Yeah, you're right, Dave. There's no remorse. There might even be some kind of enjoyment when they do it. Who knows? Our lives are especially as we spoke before the break, if you were with us then, and if you could hear me, we spoke about immortals, right? We spoke about people. These are people ultimately that have the ultimate power. Being immortal, being powerful. They look at lives like ours, 80 years, maybe 100 years, maybe 120 years on the outside, as a mayfly that lives in its entire life in a day. And you know, they're talking thousands, tens of thousands of years that they live. And there are very many legends from ancient Egypt, from China, from India, that talk about these ancient beings, these groups of people, even the Anunnaki potentially, that live for a very, very long time. Certainly the gods of the ancient peoples, you know, be it the Greeks or the Babylonians, they lived for a very, very long time. There was a time in ancient Egypt, before the old kings, where the gods ruled, and those gods ruled, you know, for hundreds of thousands of years. Even if there was a mistranslation, it'd still be tens of thousands of years where these individuals ruled. And the way they would look at us is certainly very much like we look at an ant. And don't forget, these little ants also have their little lives, and the mayfly has their little life. Every creature has their little life, and I'm sure they're trying to avoid being squashed. They don't enjoy it, I'm pretty sure about that. They just want to go about their little lives, you know, however meaningless it may seem to us. And this NASA example is just a very small case in point. The things we're talking about are, I guess, much bigger. They're much more encompassing. They're much more immediate to all of you. This is your life. This is how your life is being lived for you. This is how you're told you should live your life. Freedom of choice is not really there anymore. You think you have it, but freedom of choice is not choosing a red car over a green car or a bike over a car, but whether or not you want to be part of this consumer culture. You know, if you ask that question, if you go step outside the box, you're immediately an enemy of the state. You're immediately regarded as crazy, even suspicious. You know, maybe a terrorist. If you step outside the norm, if you want to live off the grid, like I know most of you would like to. Because
my hands up.
I know, Dave, right? So we're deviating a little bit from the big reveal, because I do want to bring it to you in a coherent form, and we just couldn't do that today. But let's examine the outlying reasons here, the outlying causes. Why this is important to us? Why this should matter to any of you? And it matters to you because you want to live your life a certain way. You want to have a certain level of freedom, and that's great. And you should have that. But as we are moving along, and we're moving along very, very fast, and you would have to be blind not to see it. One of the crucial points in recent history was September 11, 2001. It was probably the gateway event. Sad to say, I had been waiting for something like that for years. You know, a gateway event. I was looking for a disease, natural disaster. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it would be something like this. But as I watched it that night, and it was night here in Australia when it happened, I stayed up all night. And Dave, I'm pretty sure you did as well, right?
Yeah, we both did.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, my goodness, this is it. This is the game changer. This is the event that will now bring about the change that we've been seeing for such a long time coming our way. Because we couldn't imagine what could bring about such a drastic change in the civil liberties, certainly in the United States, or in fact such a blatant disregard for international law. Because make no mistake, after September 11, the United States had pretty much a carte blanche from all the other nations, and certainly from its own citizens, to do whatever was necessary to bring to justice whoever was blamed for those crimes. And I'm not going to go into the discussion here. That's a whole different show cycle by itself. But suffice it to say, September 11 is probably not what the media portrayed it to be. Right? There's very many unanswered questions. I don't really know who perpetrated it in the end, but certainly a lot of interest groups benefited from this. Okay. A lot of interest groups, both financially, politically, and otherwise. So, the change that we're seeing for a long time, and the quickening came about. You know, I guess the acquisition of certain countries, the removal of certain potentially when I say potentially hostile, I mean to the larger scheme, to the larger plan. Hostile dictators, such as Saddam Hussein, maybe even Gaddafi, people like that, and the Taliban to some extent, even though they seem to be back in power back in Afghanistan. And not that it matters. It was certainly a quickening of pace in the United States itself. And the truth is this: the United States of America is the country in the world that is the most powerful and the most influential, still to this day. People aspire to live the American way, the original American way, the freedom, the possibility that you can make it. You have a chance to, if you work hard, you can live the American dream. It's still called the American dream, right? It really is. It's pretty much dead, even in America, but nonetheless, the idea of the American dream still exists. And that's why America is such an important country, let alone the size of it and the military power. But it's the idea that was created some 200 years ago. It's the idea that that people could live free. They could go and do their own thing. The government did not have to control everything. And this is really what it is, right? It's the control of the few over the many.
Yeah, exactly. The entire design of your country from the ground up was the right thing.
Yeah, and it was done by the right people, and a lot of people have said that many Freemasons were involved in the creation of the United States. That is correct. That is the truth, and this is not really denied by anyone. The evidence is ample. Even George Washington himself, you can see paintings of him in Freemason outfits. The apron and so forth. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand that these Freemasons, they are also keepers of this ancient knowledge we've been talking about. They understand what's going on to the largest extent. Not all Freemasons, but as you move up the hierarchy in Freemasonry, you do. I guess you're told more and more secrets, right, until you reach the last secrets. And in other secret societies as well. But what has happened since, and what has happened with most organizations of that nature, with most religions even, and philosophies and ideologies, they have been corrupted. They have been turned 180 degrees around to face the way that they tried to get away from. Okay? The control in the United States now is almost total. You can get arrested and be held without trial almost indefinitely. And if you're not a citizen of the United States, you can in fact be held indefinitely. Just put that in your mind. They can just grab someone off the street in another country and send them to Guantanamo or wherever else they might send them, Abu Ghraib, and hold them there until the end of time.
No trial, no charges, nothing.
No due course, nothing, right? And in
America, due course, that was abandoned.
You're right, Dave, and this is why the reveal is important. This is what we're trying to bring to you. Why this is happening? Why is this happening? Right? This is not just a power grab. This is much this. And believe it or not, there is also a concerted effort to depopulate the planet. Now, I know this sounds horrible and unbelievable. You think that's impossible. The government would never do this. The people in power, they would never do this and that. And they probably wouldn't. The elite,
but it's not them that's doing it.
100% correct, Dave. It's the elite that controls the puppets that you see, make the speeches, win the elections. If you believe in elections, it is the people that pull the strings that are in the background. It's not even the Rothschilds of the world, if you will. Right? I know there's this talk about a Jewish conspiracy. Let me assure you, I do not believe that there's a Jewish conspiracy to run this world. Okay, every human being is an equal victim in this. Okay, there are some human beings, I think personally, who are now in the role of trustee. If we take the prison example a step further, which were given some insights and the chance to also potentially become immortal, but they're given the role of trustee. But the key element here is to maintain this particular world going as it does on its course. That might even one day lead to space exploration and a colonization of Mars and other planets and solar systems and all these wonderful things. It doesn't change the fact that this reality, this universe, this world in my estimation, are in fact a prison for our higher selves, right? This is where it becomes a little metaphysical again. Now, these trustees then have a problem on their hands, and the elite does as well, and that's, I think, why we had these flood myths and the destruction of the old worlds and civilizations always falling apart after a certain time, even helped by the outside. And some movies and some art seems to reflect that. And good art usually reflects reality. There's this art mirrors life and so forth. And one of these is in fact the destruction of civilization. And Dave and I had a bit of a moment, my brother helped as well, when we thought about population growth. In nature, and we spoke about this last week, you have something called a Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence, which is 0, 1, 1, 3, 4, 7, and so forth. So it's the first term plus the second term, and then the third term is the second term plus the first term, and so on and so forth. That Fibonacci sequence governs the growth patterns in nature. Okay, in a nautilus, for example, right? In a sunflower.
Also the budding posts or budding spots on a branch of a tree.
Yes, that is correct, and that is closely linked to the golden ratio. So what we did, we put the sequence together. So we just, obviously in a spreadsheet, and we just did a population growth analysis. The next Fibonacci sequence number that we're going to hit will be 7,775,000,000 roughly. Okay, I've got the exact number in my calculations, and it's 7,778,000,000 and then a few. That is the next Fibonacci sequence in our population growth. According to UN estimates, we will hit that number roughly in the year 2020. Okay, it could be 2019, 2021, who knows, right? I'm just telling you what the number is. And because it seems that critical mass, along with the Fibonacci sequence, along with torsion, right, which is like a toroidal force, everything is spin in the world, and that's really what the Fibonacci sequence does. It gives you a spiral-like growth pattern. I think it is fair to assume, and this is really where you need a massive leap. Don't forget that Dave and I have been looking at this for a long, long time. Most of you will probably need to take a massive leap of faith here with me. And if you can't, that's fair enough too. But just want you to think about it. If you reach critical mass, a chain reaction happens. It just happens, okay? Certainly when you've got radioactive substances and you've got a certain amount of uranium-235, and you put it together with more uranium-235, at a certain point, a spontaneous reaction will happen. And this is there are other chemical and physical or even biological reactions that have a critical mass element. Am I correct, Dave?
Yes.
You got the lemmings, the migration patterns, and all of these wonderful things. Right. So at 7,778,000,000, we think we're looking at an awareness cascade. We call it, right? We're calling it. You can call it ascension. You can call it the great understanding, or the dawn of Aquarius, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care what it's called. But at that point, I think we reach critical mass as a race. There are enough souls in the world to affect change. Okay. There are enough souls to maybe push us across the awareness barrier that we've been kept under. Okay, I think that's what's going to happen. It is therefore very, very important for the elite, because they want to keep this going, don't forget this, to make sure we don't reach that number. And I think that's why depopulation is so important. Okay, it's trying to keep us here and to keep the souls recycling. And it's a and again, this is where we come into reincarnation to some extent, I guess. There's pretty good evidence, and there really is. We spoke about that in our show on reincarnation, that reincarnation may be a real thing, and that we just keep, getting reborn into this world over and over and over without any memory. The interesting thing there is that we don't seem to gain anything. All these lives, because we can't remember them, don't really help us in any way. We just reborn again and again, or maybe some of us aren't. Maybe some are trapped as ghosts. I don't think this is a perfect system. I don't think this is a perfect world we're living in. I think it's a flawed world, and there are very many flaws within it. Science can't explain what is going on to some extent. We're still looking for the 98% dark matter, which we think is required for this universe to exist as it does.
Hey, don't get me started.
Right?
I don't think it's dark matter at all. I think there might be other dimensions, which is adding to the weight or the mass of the universe.
I'm with you.
I don't think it's dark matter at all. I think that's just because the calculations don't add up, yeah?
Yeah, no, and they don't. They don't. And you've got, different theories. We spoke about that as well. We spoke about quantum physics that require several other dimensions, higher dimensions. There's certainly, I think, to exist as it does. Gravity can't be explained because it's such a weak force. So where's the rest of the gravity force? Is it bleeding somewhere else? So the point I'm trying to make, though, is this is not a perfect universe. And I guess we shouldn't expect one. But it leaves the way open for a whole bunch of different phenomena to occur. And they are occurring. Hopefully the last 40 shows have shown you there are many things going on that can't be explained scientifically, that can't be explained spiritually even, right? Because guess what? There are dozens, scores of different religions and philosophies in the world. Hundreds if you look at the subsects. Thousands even. And they can't all be right? They can't all have the truth, even though they claim they all do. But maybe they have subsets of the truth. Maybe they have seen phenomena as a subset of the greater reveal, if you will. Maybe reincarnation is a real thing, but maybe ghosts are real too. That those are souls that may be somehow excluded from the reincarnation cycle. Maybe purgatory and hell are real. Maybe those are separate dimensions that souls or spirits go to when they somehow fall out of the reincarnation cycle. I don't know. All I know is that these phenomena exist. There's a lot of strangeness going on in the world, high strangeness. And all my life I've been trying to look at the unifying theory. And I'll be honest with you, when I was 5 years old, maybe 6, I was walking in my street in Germany and I looked at this tree and the sun was shining through this beautiful tree. I was little, so the tree looked massive to me. And something hit me. I thought, you know what? No, I'm paraphrasing because I was 5 or 6 years old, so I can't remember exactly what I was thinking, but it was along these lines. It was, if I just know everything, if I just learn everything there is to know, then one day I can explain everything. Now, I'm very far away from knowing everything, and I'm very far away from learning everything. And I know that there's a lot of things I don't know. And the more, in fact, I learn, the more I realize how little I know, in fact. It's true. The more doors you open, the more doors you find.
Absolutely, same thing here.
The
more questions that get asked as well.
100%.
I don't think there's a satisfactory answer to any one of my questions because I have more after that.
And look, that you're right, Dave. And what we're not trying to do here is give you all the last answers because, okay, let's say that we are imprisoned here in our physical bodies. Let's say there is an elite, like a trustee elite that keeps this prison running from the inside. Who imprisoned us here in the first place? And why? And where's our real home if this isn't it? And why aren't we there? And how do we get there? And what is it like? It never really ends. Maybe it does once we reach a certain level of awareness. Because there's another experience I've had when I was very young. And I think I've shared this with you in the past. And I certainly have shared it with you, Dave. Mm-hmm. I was under my grandparents' dining table. It was a small kitchen and a small table, enough space for 6 people. But anyway, it was a smallish wooden table. I was under it, and I cannot remember the content of what was shown to me, what I saw. I have no idea. I only remember the feeling that I had. And the feeling was, oh, right. Well, that's all right then. That's the feeling I had. And what I remember is that everything made sense. So call it, maybe I had a mini stroke at the age of, I don't know, again, I think I was 4 or 5 years old. Maybe I had a mini stroke. But at that moment, when I was under my grandparents' table and this realization hit me, I thought, oh, wow, yeah, that makes sense. So I saw something was shown me, I don't know. The point is, The point is that everything made sense to me at that point. And that I still remember this feeling. Okay, I still remember it. So I have high hopes that if we do reach the next level of awareness, this world will make sense. Everything will make sense. I'm hoping. I don't know. The point is this, though. As we're moving along this line here, there's some real dangers to us, right? I for one, don't want to be stuck here until the end of time. Okay, I would like to progress. I would like to move along in my spiritual development. And I really believe that we're stuck here. And we're kept here deliberately. Some of us, and I know this is an imperfect system because these pieces of evidence are popping up. They're not empirical in nature, they're anecdotal, meaning they can't be verified in a laboratory, they can't be repeated. But some people have memories of their past lives, and some of us can be regressed to our past lives. So there's a residual memory that hasn't been wiped, but it's not actively available. Same with the dream memories, right? People say, oh, your dreams are lost before they are formed into long-term memory. I like to differ here in that opinion because I dream. I remember my dreams very, very rarely. I'm a poor rememberer of dreams. But sometimes I remember a dream days and sometimes even weeks after I've had it. Something triggers it and I go, oh, I dreamt this. And this is not déjà vu, it's just a memory of a dream, right? So there's no event that's triggered in the dream. I'm just remembering a dream. So it must still sit there somewhere in your memory. Not accessible long-term memory, but it sits there. Okay, that's really the important thing here. So where am I going with this? This is where I'm going. We are being deliberately kept here. We are being deliberately, subjected to amnesia about our past life, certainly about our past histories. And there seems to be a deliberate effort to move us away from any critical analysis of history and all the artifacts we find around the world. You know what? It should be the easiest thing for scientists to just disprove everything like that we've spoken about. Must be the easiest thing. And again, this comes to my pet peeve when it comes to the skeptics. Nothing wrong with skepticism. I'm a skeptic. What I don't like is when someone just says, nah, I don't think so. I think you're wrong. Fair enough. Why? Give me a better reason. Give me a better explanation as to why it is this way or why it is that way and why my explanation or my questions are wrong. Give me that and I'm very happy. If you can't give that to me, well, then I don't really want to hear what you have to say because just saying that doesn't help anyone. It doesn't further my quest for the knowledge that I seek. It doesn't further my journey for the truth or Dave's for that matter or any of yours. So there's certainly an effort to keep these things under wraps. There's certainly secrets. We know there are conspiracies, small ones, big ones, massive ones. We know that. That's a fact. I mean, this is what happens in history. That's what human beings do as well. That's our nature. It's just the enormity of this particular one that has me worried. Because if the elite is truly worried about us reaching ascension, and I know people will go, oh, you can't reach ascension unless, purify your soul and you have to cleanse your spirit and all this. You're right. You're right. What I'm postulating here, though, is that at 7.7 billion and some, we reach critical mass. It's just what it is. And critical mass will just push us one way or the other, I think. I'm not saying that we will necessarily reach ascension. We could reach hell state, for all I know, depending on our mental state. I mean, certainly the world is not a perfect place, and people are making, quite sure that we're living in terrible times with a lot of suffering. So maybe it'll go the other way. But I don't think the elite can take that chance. I don't think they can take the chance that we will ascend. I don't think they can take the chance that we will change for the better, that we will believe in the power of prayer. And you can laugh, but there's a lot to be said for the power of prayer, a lot to be said for positive manifestation, a lot to be said for the power of love. All of these things that you probably smirk at or smile at or laugh at, they're very, very important because they actually work, and the elite knows this. So they're trying to confuse love with sex. They're trying to confuse faith with dogma. These are not the same things. They're not. You must have a very strong personal faith in something, whatever it might be. And you must have a very strong personal love that you feel for things around you. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about actual love, like your neighbor or whatever, right? So these are very powerful things. And the elite also understands the power of negativity and negative thought. Very much so. In fact, it is become endemic on some TV channels that the only news you get is the bloodbath here, and the person killed there, and there's a person missing over there. There's a terrible accident, and sometimes they end the news on a cute, little animal story or something, just to dampen the blow a little bit. But by and large, the news that you see on TV, you read about in the paper, are terrible news. The movies and the games that we subject our children to these days are brutal. They're shocking. In fact, they're so bad that I can't even begin to understand how people watch this. When I grew up, I watched Pink Panther cartoons, and we had the Flintstones and the Jetsons, even in Germany, because we lost the war, so the Americans give us their cartoons. But these days, it's Ben 10 and the Transformers. That's exactly the Marshall Plan. Hurrah! Sorry, Schmoopy 2818. The elite cares because if we reach awareness cascade and we get away from here, we take away their slave force. The souls that were previously inhabiting these bodies that are constantly reproduced through procreation would be gone. They would probably still be here, however many there are, maybe a few thousand, maybe a few hundred, I don't know. But they would lack the labor force. So they want to stabilize the population at around 500 million, which is very far away from critical mass and also quite easily controlled.
But also 500 million is a nice starting figure again, right?
Absolutely. It's much better than 2, right? Because, they wouldn't have to drop their standard of living. Think about it this way, right? If you are the elite, you're set up pretty well already, most likely. So you don't really need that many people to keep going. Because the thing is this, these immortals are, if nothing else, creatures of habit. They don't like change. That is really important to remember. And they want to go back to the level of comfort and technology they used to have. And if you look at the evidence around us, they had a hugely impressive level of technology. The pyramids they're there. They were built. I don't know how. I'm still challenging anyone to tell me how they were built. We spoke at length about the 3 stone monoliths at Baalbek, 1,000 tons each, which were lifted to form part of a platform, which is now the Temple of Zeus, if I'm not mistaken, or the Temple of Jupiter in the Bekaa Valley. Other impressive feats are look at Machu Picchu. Look at Puma Punku. Look at the cities under the sea, right? You see the ruins, they're there. Look at the other massive stone walls that you find all throughout South America, which are fit together at really odd angles, but without any mortar. How do they do it? I don't know. I really don't know. But it was done. That is the point. The point is it was done. It is there. You can see, you can touch it. Okay? It is there. Amazing feats of astronomy by supposedly primitive peoples. Okay? Supposedly primitive peoples. And the Dogon tribe in Africa is a prime example. Having knowledge of the dog star, or Orion rather, that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, they worship and have trinkets and necklaces with an icon that shows the star that you can't see with the naked eye.
Exactly.
In fact, you not only can you not see it, we didn't discover it until the 90s.
Yep, and we only did because there was a wobble in the companion sun.
So that's when we said there must be something else there, another heavy object.
Yeah, correct.
And they said, well, that's the one we were just been talking about the whole time.
Yeah, now isn't that amazing? Don't you think that warrants to at least investigate? And it is these things that prompted Dave and I to investigate. And this is so we're giving you the fruits of our investigations. So the elite will then stabilize the population and live here in this prison until the end of time. Because if you are a trustee in a prison, and this is don't forget this, all right? This is another aspect I need to mention to you guys. This is not a bad place. This world could be paradise for our current incarnation, our physical forms. We just choose not to make it that way.
That's probably the best thing you've said. That I think you're right.
You know?
I said before that we choose to be fearful. We choose to be scared, even though it doesn't seem like a choice at the time. And I think you're right, Mickey. I think all of the people who design what it is we want and design when we're going to get it are the same people who design our inability to choose otherwise.
You're exactly right.
Right. So just to agree with you completely, the say decommissioning of Americans' individual rights. Yeah, why aren't people complaining about it? Why aren't they voting with their feet? How quickly can you forget what's going on? And why do you accept it? I mean, that is not right. Oh, because they know what they're doing.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
What happened to all those things that you had in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s? What happened to those things, the rights, the fun that we all experienced? And why is it not that same place now? Why aren't the laws making it the same place? Why aren't the decisions making that the same place? Why can't we have the same place?
And you hit it on the head there. You have to get to people while they're young. And ideally, and this is something that David Icke has postulated for a long time now, create a problem, right? Whatever it might be. And let's call 9/11 a problem. And then the people will ask for a solution. Oh, something terrible has happened, which you engineered in the first place, right? Something terrible has happened. Oh, and then the elite goes, oh, here's the solution to the problem that you're reacting to. So, problem reaction solution is really what's happening. You're right, Dave. And we need to get to these people early. For the longest time, people were not encouraged to think for themselves. In fact, the more ignorant, the better. It is really quite astonishing that we have gone along with it as long as we have. And the thing is, we will keep on going along with this. But where I was going with with the Earth being potentially paradise is that I believe, and not just I, but many other people, that the ascended masters, people or souls that have in fact become, well, maybe not perfect, but perfect enough to leave this reincarnation prison, are coming back. They're coming back to help us, the rest of us, make this a better place. To turn this into a better place rather than hoping for ascension. This is a powerful statement. Imagine you could escape a prison, a terrible prison, and no one else though knows they're in prison. Only you know, and then you do something about it, and you actually get out of it, and then you choose to come back to help the people that are still here in prison. That's I'm not saying.
I can smell the Matrix. I can definitely smell Morpheus and Neo in that description.
Absolutely. That is a fact. I mean, this is where art reflects life or imitates life. And when I first watched The Matrix, I thought the movie resonated with me on a level I can't even explain. The splinter of the mind concept really drew my attention as well. And I thought, yeah, wow, yes. Someone has very eloquently, albeit, I guess, technologically limited, because I don't think this is a computer program, but certainly the analogy stands. So there's a whole group of us that don't know that we're even living in a non-reality, whereas there might be some outside forces that are trying to pull us out, while the other forces are trying to keep us in. The very first Matrix movie was astonishing in that way. After that, it turned into Star Wars, the poorer, more recent cousins of the original Star Wars movies, I must say.
Mm-hmm.
And it became uninteresting. It just became a big shootout with the evil guys. And I guess that's the nature of us as well. Some of us might have these breakthroughs, and then we get money, and we just want more money. And the philosophy that maybe underlied our original belief system just falls by the wayside, which has happened time and again. Maybe not with the original people that came up with it, but certainly following generations would have lost the original teachings. And yeah, the Matrix is a movie that I think reflects to some extent what is happening. We are in fact our true selves, which are in the Matrix represented by the pod people, the actual physical bodies in the pods. Our true selves are somehow operating through the brain that we have in this reality, right? We are very limited in our interaction with this particular reality. We need tools, we need objects, we need stuff, we need to eat, we need to drink, we need shelter. There's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be fulfilled for us to exist here. Where maybe in our true existence, none of this is necessary. I don't know. I have no idea if it is or isn't, but the point is that our true selves have to work through this intermediary body that we call ourselves. So what can we do is the question to escape this prison, right? How do the ascended masters manage? So this is what I think happens, and I'm not just the only one. It happened in the past, and this knowledge has been passed down. Apparently, you do have to love, right? You have to fill your life with love. You have to let go of the things that tie you down. If you think of Ebenezer Scrooge and the Christmas Carol by Dickens, he's visited by his friend, the business partner, and he said, "You see these chains? These are the chains that I forged for myself in life." That's a great insight. I think that we're all doing that. We're weighing ourselves down by worrying about all the wrong things that we carry from life to life to life. So we can't achieve a higher state of consciousness, right? We put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
I do love that, Mickey.
and the chains, I think they're real enough. I think we are weighted down spiritually. We have to become lighter. I know this is a very airy-fairy concept. How do you become lighter? Well, try not to kill anything. It's a good start, right? I know this is going to be unpopular with most of you, but vegetarianism might help. Meditation. Living in the now and understanding and realizing good thoughts, having good thought manifestations. I'm terrible in traffic. I'm a very badly, I guess, spoken person in traffic when it comes to someone cutting me off and so forth. So it's something I have to work on. Okay, I have to make amends in that regard. So I have to try to become a better person and forgive the other person for cutting me off. Because they're just people like me, and they probably didn't mean it. It was a mistake, whatever. So these are things that each of us can work on. And maybe we don't have to consume that much. Maybe we don't. Maybe we can live simpler lives. Starting with yourself, starting with your immediate family. This is all very simple stuff, you think, right? But in the long term, spiritually, it's very, very important. Look at the Buddhist monks, for instance. We know that their brains are different. That has been scientifically proven, if you want to follow empirical sciences here. Their brain functions on a different level to ours. It just does. Because they've meditated all their lives, because they've thought differently, they live differently. They have let go of their earthly possessions, if you will. They went through like a Gandhi stage. Gandhi in his life also realized, I have to give all of this up. In Thailand, it's quite common for children to go into monasteries and live there for a while, and follow that path. It's a worthy thing. Most of us are being pushed away from that, though, very, very strongly. The violence in our entertainment, the violence in our news, the violence generally in society, and fear. The fear that we all have is magnificently enlarged by all the things that we don't really need in our lives. Oh, I'm going to lose my big car. Oh, I can't afford to, go to Bora Bora for my vacation. Oh, whatever it might be, right? Maybe a simpler life would be better. And certainly the way we live our lives is wrong as well. We were not designed to work in offices. These are just factors that are adding to our, the dullness of our brains. It is the food that we eat, and Jim Marrs made an excellent point in his book, the zombification of America and the Western world at large by the things we eat, the pharmaceuticals we take. It's deliberate, guys. It is all designed to steer us away from the true path. which has been shown to us by almost every person that has ever walked on the planet. Okay, they all say the same thing essentially. There might be slight variations, and certainly time does something as well to that, and there will be corruption, and there will be interest groups that change the teachings deliberately to lead us on the wrong path. But the point, they're all pretty much saying the same thing, right? You cannot get out of this place the way you are. Christ, right, if you want to go this way, Jesus Christ said, it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to go to heaven. Now, these are all important stories, important messages that are given to us. And I'm giving you the Jesus Christ example because most of you would be familiar with the Bible, I would imagine. But every philosophy, every religion, every culture has similar examples of what it is to live the right life and what it is to live the wrong life. Okay? It is not that hard to try to do the right thing. It really isn't. And I would love if for all of us to try to make a difference tomorrow and the day after that. So maybe that we can avoid the great culling, as it were. Maybe we can ascend sooner. Maybe we don't need the 7.7 billion. Maybe, maybe we can do it without reaching critical mass. And I might be wrong about that. Maybe that's all just a figment of my imagination. Okay, and then we're really lost. But bear in mind that I think the elite really is trying to cull the population. There's a lot of evidence for that. Okay, there's a lot of evidence for new diseases. There's a lot of evidence for new chemical and biological warfare coming our way. And it's been a stated policy object, a stated foreign policy object of the United States to encourage birth control in the world. And fair enough, too, from their point of view. But let me say this again. There are enough resources in the world today to feed everybody. There are enough resources in the world today to make sure everybody can live, I guess, an equitable life, a life that doesn't have to be at the poverty line. It is just that some of us are consuming so much more than we should. And very few of us are consuming massive quantities. Thereby pretty much leaving nothing for the majority of the planet. I'll leave it there, and then we'll talk a bit, about the potential consequences next time, I guess, and how we can get out of it, and what we need to do, and what it all really means, and who they might be, and where they might be. In fact, we spoke about that in the past. They're always spoken about of living in a mountain, or on a mountain, or near a mountain, or in a place that is quite high. But but for today, because we're coming to the end of the show, and I don't think I'll be with you for the next 2 weeks, so Dave will have the helm. So I come back, we'll start a few more cycles again, but we're probably going to do a few more. And happy to take calls maybe next time we're all together again. Dave, why not have people call and ask questions or debate us?
Yeah, look, I think for the next 2 shows, I'll probably do roundtables and try and invite some discussion upon the things we've talked about so far in the show, and use the show notes as references, so they'll limit them to only talking about the things that are available in the show notes. That'd be awesome. I'm going to see if I can do some interviews with some people over this break, taking advantage of it. Everyone out there, by the way, Philip Coppens from Ancient Aliens, the French-looking fellow with the tight curly black hair. Thoughts of love for him at the moment. He's not feeling very well. He hasn't felt well for a while. I think it's something like a pneumonia, like a lung bacteria. So everyone, please try and send him some good thoughts there. We'd like to interview him, and let's just keep that open. What I also wanted to do was invite everyone to email us. Please do that. Meki, let's catch up, you and me, and I'll give you that mug so you can have a 500 ml/20 ounce cup of coffee.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a coffee addict, it's true.
Yeah, me too. And you know what? It's awesome. So, without further ado, I'd like to thank everyone for listening to Shiny Side Out today. Even with our tech issues, we'll wrap up the big reveal in the new year, 3 weeks time. But next weekend we'll be doing a roundtable, and I invite everyone to call in. I don't mind. Throw us stuff that we can talk about for the next year as well. And let's just open it up to our audience. I think that'd be awesome. Thank you so much for letting us be here for 42 shows so far, and let's make it another 52 shows, eh?
Sounds good to me, buddy.
Awesome. Well, the stall tactics didn't work. The music hasn't started yet, and I don't know where the music is. Hello, anyone? Dead air? No dead air? Oh, it's all good. Look, thanks. Like, there we go. Have a great day. You've been listening to Shiny Side Out with Dave and Mecky. See you later, y'all.